Hello, this is Fatih, this is Kali, and we're Toad and Tree Off-Grid. Not too long ago, we decided we wanted to leave the city, spend more time outside, and try to live a more self-sufficient life. We bought this plot of land with an abandoned olive grove of over 200 trees, a little house, and a big pool. We moved in a year ago, and we're ready to jump into renovating, gardening, and the joys of interior design. But instead, we've spent an unholy amount of time collecting rubbish from the land, cleaning, and throwing stuff away. We didn't fully know what we were signing up for, and to be completely honest, we still don't really know what we're doing. But we like it here, and things are slowly improving, so let's see if we can pull this off. In the last video, we painted the utility room and said that we would tell you our plans in the next video. So, now it's time. Originally, the utility room was an outdoor barbecue area, and we were planning to separate what will be the studio into an office space and make a partition wall to keep the gas heater, washing machine and everything else. Because of planning permission laws in Spain, it's really complicated to build an extension onto the existing building, so we had to use the space that we have. Luckily, it occurred to Fatih that we could just use the barbecue area for utilities and keep the original size of the office. We're really pleased about that because we're working from a spare room at the moment and it's a little cramped, and our studio would have ended up being more or less the same size. As you've already seen, the room is ready and we've received our delivery. There are 5 things we need to do to complete the project. The first is painting, which is done. We'll just go around and touch up some areas right at the end. Second is the floor, that's what we're going to get on with today. The third is water, we need to bring the water pump and the boiler and all of the piping into the utility room. Fourth is electricity, we need to add a light bulb and a few plugs to be able to actually use the room. And the fifth is the ceiling, we want to cover the concrete beams and make it a little bit more pretty. And as I'll show you now, we need to do all of this before we can start renovating the studio, which is actually our main goal at the moment. The studio, as we're calling it, is actually a kitchen. It has a load of cabinets, a big sink, and if you've been with us from the beginning, you'll know that we actually had to cut out some of the countertop because it was so smelly. Because it was originally being used as a kitchen, it has all of the water system in there. We're going to need all the space we can get in the studio, and the water pump makes a lot of noise anyway, so it would be great to have that in its own little room. So as you can see, we needed to build the wall, to paint the utility room, to start on the floor, to do the electricity, to do the water, to finish the utility room, to start on the studio that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the horse and the hound and the horn that belonged to the farmer sowing his corn, that kept the cock that crowed in the morn, that woke the priest all shaven and shorn, that married the maid, corn that kept the cock that crowed, none of this corn that kept the cock in the torn, that kicked the maid and all, not kicked, didn't kick her, he kissed her. This is the horse and the hound and the horn that belonged to the farmer sowing his corn, that kept the cock that crowed in the morn, that woke the priest all shaven and shorn, that married the man all tattered and torn, that kissed the maid and all forlorn, that milked the cow with the crumpled horn, that tossed the dog, that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Back to today's project. Let's go and show you what we have planned for the floor and why we seem to find it impossible to make things any easier for ourselves. Instead of vinyl, tiles or even linos, beautiful and affordable flooring options, I have the taste of someone way above my socioeconomic status. I absolutely love handmade terracotta tiles, but the pricing we found started from €5 per piece according to the shape and goes up from there according to marketing. But we don't give up so easily, or we would have never given up city life to begin with, so we decided to go with the next best thing: bricks. Terracotta means cooked earth in Italian, and these bricks are called barro cocido, which literally means cooked mud in Spanish. So essentially, they're the same thing. These bricks are not entirely handmade, as they use machines for some of the process, but each brick is different and they have that rustic look that we love. They'll need a little extra attention, as they're not made with as much care as the fancy floor pavers, but we think we can make it work. Well, actually, we have to make it work because we've already bought 4 pallets. So, let's go.
It's windy day, and I hope that it's going to dry soon. It's windy day today, and I hope it's going to help us for the window. It's going to dry out. I varnish everything, and this job we know very well how to do it. It's not the first time we are varnishing things here. So while this is drying out, we can start the big one, the floor. So let's go.
We are trying to figure out where to take as our guideline to put the bricks in, because the walls aren't parallel and they're not straight, so everything's a bit wonky. But we decided that we want to take the entrance as a reference, so that when you open the door you have like pretty full bricks, because around the edges it doesn't matter if we have smaller pieces that we need to cut out, because we're going to put skirting board anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure halfway in between the entrance, and we're going to take that as a reference for the middle, and then we're going to take the line parallel to the entrance to get the reference line for the edge. We obviously don't want to start laying the bricks at the front of the room, because then by the time we get to the middle, I don't know, we'd have to like climb out the window or something. So we're going to try and get the line all the way to the back in the right place, and then start from there and work our way forwards. But hopefully by the time we get to the front, we will have a full brick at the entrance that doesn't need cutting, and it will be parallel and beautiful. So let's try.
So we are using resin-based concrete adhesive for the tiles, under the bricks, which is used in the bathrooms on the tiles, that it sticks and doesn't move. So we will go with that. That's a good mix. I think it is good. Let's go and see. I am putting the mix under as well. Usually you don't need it, because if the surface that you are working is smooth, you don't need to put under, you can just make it on the floor and just put it on top of it. But surfaces that I am working, they are not super flat, and there are holes sometimes, there are cracks, and I want to be sure that it goes inside and fills the gaps. So therefore I put a smooth, super thin layer on the bottom to make it flat, and then after that putting on the floor. With this method it will be more secure, I believe. They are not moving anyway. It's like once you put it, they stay there. It's really hard to take it off, but still is to make it a bit more secure. Just to say that I am not an expert. I'm just doing it and I don't know what I am doing. But so far it works. It works. We will see when we need it to sand, because this needs sanding, and I don't know how we're gonna manage with that. It will be a lot of sanding. I made a new mix to finish everything today, and I said that okay, it's going to be enough this one. As always, not enough. Always there is like 5 of the tires that I have to put, but I don't have mix. Now I am going to go and make the mix, and most probably going to make a lot.
So it's done. I love the way it looks. Now we need to wait. You can show it as a clip. Sorry. So it's done. I love the way it looks. Now we need to wait around 20 days to be sure that everything is completely dry and for any efflorescence to appear. After that, we'll clean and sand the bricks down and finish by grouting and sealing everything. We want to go through the whole process with this room before we start putting the floor in anywhere else, so that we can be sure of every step of the process and the outcome. But you will see this in the next one. Adios!